Hello, G1s, and welcome to episode 14 of the G1 Features podcast. As always, I am Madhero, the host, and of course the MC, and pretty much the guy that runs the whole G1 Features shebang. And joining me as always is Gear. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm good. Apparently we're introducing our roles now, so I am the co-host and editor and sends a lot of messages to the boss person of G1 Features.
Which would be me. It's not necessarily that this is a thing now that we're doing, but it's just like, okay, this is something we kind of do out of the blue. So I'm just like, okay, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do that is interesting or say? And then, yeah, just let me say what I do. I guess that's the most interesting thing that I could come up with, and not anything particularly witty or special. But here we are, gotta be quick with these things.
Because we always plan these out so well.
Yes, very professional. Very, very professional. But, I guess that's maybe a little bit of the charm of the show. Sort of like, oh, look how amateurish they are. Or just, have let's just hope that they don't think that. But just sort of like, okay, it's not podquisition level. It's not P.S. I love you level. But it's just, they do their thing.
We're sort of in that middle zone, you know.
It's not quite shit. It's not quite.
We try to be relatively like on the ball, but we don't have a budget, so we kind of sound like garbage.
Yeah, will hopefully grow at some point. But anyway, how are you doing? Have you done anything recently? Played any games? Have just had a good time?
I've still been trucking along with Earth Defense Force 4.1. It's I feel like I'm making some pretty serious progress in the game. I'm about like 30 missions in now, which is way more than Insect Armageddon had. Insect Armageddon had like 15, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a lot of fun. I had a bit of a busy weekend, had some people over, went out for dinner, had some very good Indian food. If you're ever in town, I can highly recommend it.
I'm not the biggest fan of Indian food, but
Traitor.
I just don't like Indian food. It's just not really my thing. But so I don't think you did anything special on the most special day on Earth this Saturday, February 27th.
What happened this Saturday?
You don't know what happened? Only the 20th anniversary of one of the greatest franchises of all time.
Oh yeah, gotcha. I was just like, I watched like Survivor Series of 2002, I think it was, with a friend. Hang on.
What does that have to do with the greatest event in history of ever?
I don't know, but Brock Lesnar faced The Rock. That was pretty amazing.
In case you don't know, it was Pokemon's 20th anniversary, and that's, a pretty big deal, for a lot of people of my generation, your generation as well, just that have grown up with the franchise and have seen it all the way, development. There is, of course, the caveat that, Pokemon wasn't introduced in Europe where I live until 1999, so it came a little later for us, but, that sort of helped me see it all the way through.
By the way, I was actually incorrect. I watched SummerSlam, not Survivor Series.
They're all the same anyway. Said the guy who knows absolutely nothing about wrestling.
I was about to say, my good sir.
But, yeah, I didn't do anything particularly special on, to really celebrate the whole thing because it's also my dad's birthday at that exact day, so we did something more for that. But, and it's obviously a bit more important for me personally, but
I imagine you probably bought Pokemon Yellow along with half the world's population.
I actually bought Pokemon Red. But I am planning to get Yellow because, there is the thing that, Red and Blue are the exact same game with, some other Pokemons in it, and that's about it. But with Yellow, you do get kind of a different experience, but with the Pikachu following you, getting all the starters, and all that good. Yeah, just some mini games here and there. So there is that to get. So I'm going to get them both, especially with the recent announcement, which we'll get to a little bit later. But yeah, it's been very Pokemon over here. I just recently got a Celebi on both my Pokemon X and Pokemon Omega Ruby.
I still have one from the Pokemon Bank promotion, but I haven't gone out to get the one from the giveaway yet. I should do that.
Oh, I should
soon.
have that as well. So I have like 3 Celebi now.
Oh, I thought that was the Celebi that you. I thought that was the one.
No, there's what they did is that to celebrate they give every month they give away a new Pokemon, and last month it was Mew, which they did via the codes.
Yeah.
And now they are giving away Celebi via
that's what I'm talking about.
Mystery gift, and not via Pokemon Bank.
Oh, okay.
But I have one from Pokemon Bank, and I have the one now on Pokemon X and now on Pokemon Omega Ruby, which I got through Mystery Gift. So I now have a total of 3 Celebi.
Nice. I will be getting my second one.
Yeah.
Next month is Jirachi.
Yes. They have the whole schedule planned. Okay, I have it right here.
Yeah.
April is Jirachi, then
Darkrai.
Darkrai, Manaphy, Shaman,
Arceus,
Victini, Keldeo, Genesect, and Meowetta.
I have a lot of these, actually.
I'm one of the few that have Manaphy, if only because...
You bought Pokemon Ranger?
I bought Pokemon Ranger, yeah. And that was the only way to get Manaphy back in the day. That was also the same case with Jirachi here in Europe, at least, where you had to get him through Pokemon Channel. That game, which is literally not a game. That game where, the game of that is watch television. That is Pokemon Channel.
Including the Mew I got last month. I have Mew, Celebi, Darkrai. I can't remember if I have Shaman or not. I think so. Arceus, Keldeo, and Genesect.
Yeah. I have a bunch of those as well. I don't think I have Meowetta, for example. I don't have a Jirachi.
Black and White were very generous with their Black and White 2 specifically were very generous with their
giveaways, yeah.
Nintendo, what's it called? Come on.
Mystery
gifts. We're very generous with their mystery gifts.
Yeah.
So I remember in Black and White 1, I had White because I wanted Zekrom.
Uh-huh.
But on Mystery Gift, they were giving away level 100 of the other legendary. So I just I got really bored because, let's be honest, Black and White weren't that good.
There are some people who would argue about that.
I mean, they're not bad, but I definitely preferred Diamond to them.
Same as well. Pokemon Black. It's easily my least favorite generation, Black and White.
It's my second least favorite. And I just got really bored and just swept the entire Elite Four with a level 100 Reshiram and a level 100 Arceus.
Yeah. But basically it's been, I got Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. I haven't played a whole lot of it yet because I'm still busy with Cyber Sleuth, where plot has actually kicked in now, so... shit just got real. But, that's supposed to be a return to form for the Mystery Dungeon franchise, so I'm looking forward to playing that a bit more.
Yeah, I've heard really good things.
But, like most people, I've just been going through my old, through a nostalgia trip with Pokemon Red. Or, in many cases, Yellow. I think most people are playing that now.
Probably, yeah.
But, it makes you both appreciate, how far the Pokemon series has come, because there has been the whole thing of, Pokemon hasn't changed a bit since 1996 and all that stuff, that whole very which is, very dismissive and all. And it's true, the structure hasn't changed a whole lot. But there's so much around it that has changed.
Yeah, I'm very much on the opposite camp that thinks, the Gen 1 game, the original Gen 1 games are a load of rubbish.
They're not rubbish. That's going a bit too far in the set.
There's so many, bugs and mistakes in there.
That's not really, if you play the actual game, you don't particularly notice that. At least I certainly didn't when I was a kid, and I'm certainly not noticing them now. But
Let me throw some at you that I know off the top of my head. Focus energy, if memory serves, literally doesn't work.
I don't ever use focus energy, so
Increasing your stats too far will actually make them loop back around and go to the minimum possible.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
But again, that doesn't. The base game that is still there is still so great that you don't care that there are faults in there, and there's like I don't like for you they are bothersome. For me, they matter very very little to the actual base experience of it all.
Oh, and Pokemon with a high speed are ridiculously broken because critical hit chance was based off of your speed stat.
Game, let's just say like again because of the whole original 150 and just like Pokemon Red and Blue, they were not particularly balanced in the sense that psychic powers, the psychic Pokemon were very overpowered. Dragons were very, the Dragonite family was very overpowered, but in the sense that, Dragonite was really, really hard to get, so it was kind of like a reward.
Like, I'm not saying that you're an idiot if you like these games. I fully acknowledge that these games have sentimental value for a lot of people. I'm just saying that they're maybe not as good as you remember.
Honestly, like, for example, Pokemon, the Destructoid crew just recently reviewed Pokemon Yellow and Red, and they gave it a 7.5 or so, I believe. And that feels accurate when you look at it from, what has come since then, and just like reviewing it now it is still a really, really good, there's still a really great game in there. You can see why it has become this phenomenon, how it has grown up with the likes of Gold and Silver, Ruby and Sapphire, etc., etc. But, it's kind of slow, it's very grindy, there's a bunch of glitches and bugs in there. It's, it's some stuff just, you feel like they could have done better with it, and it's but it's fun as both sort of a nostalgia trip playing these games again in an official way, mind you. I have played these games before on an emulator, for instance. But yeah, it's hold up very well in the sense that the formula that is there is so great that it doesn't really need much improving. So I've been playing that, and that's really fun. Enjoying that. I guess it's a little because you came into the franchise in the third generation, right?
Yep, my first
Okay.
game was Pokemon Sapphire. I mean,
Yeah, so
I had played like I think Pokemon Crystal at like a friend's house, but the first one I owned was Pokemon Sapphire.
right, yeah. I guess there's definitely a case of having a nostalgic feeling for it, and that. But in the sense, yeah, I can't really say much more than that. It's still a very good game. It's one of the most important games ever made. I'll say that much. It's not the best in the sense that, again, it's very flawed, but it's so important to both me and millions of other gamers out there that I'm just enjoying the trip, that I'm currently having with it. And for the rest, yeah, my Pokemon celebration has been, occasionally checking out Twitch watches Pokemon.
Oh yeah, they're like marathoning all of the movies, right?
Yeah, they're marathoning all of the movies. They did Pokemon Origins, I believe, as well. I'm not sure what they are doing now. Let me check. But it's been an experience. And it's fun that it's actually done by Nintendo themselves, and they realize, okay, Twitch plays Pokemon was such a success. Let's, do something very similar to it. And they obviously took some inspiration from what the Bob Ross stream. And it's an interesting experience watching a movie with the Twitch stream.
Yeah, I don't like the super chaotic environment of a massive stream like that, but I can imagine that it would just be like a riot just to see the chat just go insane when something really big happens in the movies.
Oh yeah, they go wild.
Whoa!
Yeah,
I
just
mean,
all the all the faces pop up, all everything.
I think we all remember like when Twitch Plays Pokemon like began.
What is it at its absolute height? It
Yeah,
was crazy.
when I mean that's when you had like the Helix fought, like basically almost a cult came out of it.
Yeah,
Um, and I doubt something like that's gonna happen, but I mean,
it's over by the way, so
yeah.
it's done.
See,
But
the thing with Pokemon is because it has such like a vast mass market appeal with the games and the movies and the television show and the card games and the figurine and all the marketing shit that they do with Pokemon. It has become such like a shared experience with so many people all over the world that
yeah, and the crazy thing is, it's just how generational it is. Like, Pokemon has always been. It's interesting playing through Digimon Cyrus Sleuth in a sense, and also looking at Try, which is the new movie series. In that Digimon is very much a series that has grown up with its audience. It didn't necessarily cultivate a new one, but has more or less, attracted the nostalgic crowd for it. Pokemon has done that sort of ish, but it has also remained the same in that it's constantly introducing it to other kids and, creating this huge generational appeal of it because, like, I've met people, from the ages from 6 to 30 that are still playing Pokemon, and it's just crazy to see,
I mean
all of them.
I'm turning 22 next month and I'm still playing Pokemon.
I am 22 and I'm still playing Pokemon. I've been doing it since I was 5. I was 6.
God, I turn 22 next month.
It's okay. But, yeah, it's been an interesting, weekend for sure, seeing just everyone go and celebrate it. And that's, yeah, especially for something that important to me. That's, it feels obviously a bit weird to tie yourself that closely to an intellectual property that isn't owned by you in any way.
Mm.
But, for something that I've grown up with all my life, wouldn't make me, that would have made me an entirely different person if I did not grow up with it.
Yeah, that's weird to consider, like how certain franchises and just certain pieces of media really shape you as a person. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Pokemon for me, I've never been like, I didn't watch the show all that much just because it was on at inconvenient times and I was out of the country for most of my I was, abroad for most of my childhood, so I never really got as into the show as a lot of other people, but I did get really into Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. That was my introduction. And then Pokemon Diamond came out, and I loved that. Pokemon White, I liked more than most people, but I acknowledge that it's still one of the lesser ones.
Uh, like, from what I hear, a lot of people actually really like Black and White. Yeah. It was, like, we did a community list, for example, for G1 features about the top, DS games. So Pokemon Black and White were number 2. It's, it's more, I like it less than most people seem to. I feel it was just sort of like, it feels like a very, very half attempt at a semi reboot that didn't really go anywhere.
I like that it tried some new stuff, that it sort of got away with, oh, it's Geodude and it's Rattata and it's Zubat, like the shit we've all seen before. And that, like, the problem was that they sort of had, like, it's Geodude but not Geodude,
Yeah.
It's basically Geodude. Like, it was like,
It's rock and rolla.
yeah, Roggenrola. And then it's just like, oh no, it's not Zubat, it's Woobat.
It's not Rattata, it's Patrat.
Yeah. So it clung too closely to formula, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and then by the time that Black and White 2 came out, I got a bit bored of the DS formula because I also had gotten like Heart Gold in
Yeah.
between there, and I had just gotten tired, and that's why Pokemon X was such a breath of fresh air for not just me, but I think for most people, just because it felt so different. It was really refreshing.
It was nice, like, in this like sprite art has always aged better than 3D art ever will. Mostly, that's just kind of how I see it, at least. But
To a
it was
certain extent, yeah. I
yeah,
think the problem is that, especially in fifth generation Black and White and Black and White 2, they tried to mix the two and it didn't really work.
yeah, and it was 2012 already, so like it hasn't changed in like 16 years.
Mm.
And it's kind of like I want to see something different. I want to see Pokemon in that third dimension now, and they did with the X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
And now, since you've already discussed Earth Defense Force, and that's pretty much the only game you've played recently, and then I've discussed my game. Do you want to get into the big Pokemon news then?
Yep.
Rest in peace, Gen 6, because we are moving forward with Gen 7 as Nintendo formally announces Pokemon Sun and Moon. And that's pretty much all we can say. They've announced it. They've shown there are some very tiny glimpses of stuff you can see, like what maybe the bird Pokemon, the likes of Pidgey, Hoot Hoot, Starve, and all that stuff. Some concept art, which includes a Blastoise fire departments,
and
and
an
that's about it.
approximate release date for late next year.
It's not
late this year. Sorry.
This year. It is coming this year.
Like end of this year. Probably somewhere around the same time that X and Y came out.
Which was October, so it was like they announced it was going to be like 6 minutes, but even then it was kind of like, this is really short, and they didn't really say a whole lot about it. So it's hard to really speculate and say stuff about it, because like what people are speculating now, based on the concept art that was shown and like the stuff that you could see from the bird Pokemon, is that this is a area more based on South America, or at least more tropical regions.
I saw people saying Spain as well.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see when they show off a bit more. But they announced that it's going to be worldwide, so we're going to see, so it's going to be everywhere around the world at the same time. Which is a neat thing about X and Y as well, that you didn't have to wait, like an extra couple weeks or months before you got, Pokemon X.
Yeah.
They said new languages, which is traditional simplified Chinese, so.
Nice.
1 billion extra players, pretty much.
Yeah.
And, the final things that they announced during the small Pokemon Direct is that if you're currently playing Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, through the Pokemon Bank system, you can send those Pokemon to the Pokemon Bank and then put them in Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Damn.
So yeah, all the way from Generation 1 to Generation 7.
And that's pretty big, because, like, before this, there has been no way to get Pokemon from Generation 1 onto the current systems without, like...
things died when Gen 3 came out, and there was no way to really connect the Game Boy Advance with the Game Boy games, and then...
Here's the thing. It's theoretically possible if you use the remakes.
Yeah, but it wasn't any way possible to get the Pokemon you played with all those years ago on there. And I do remember that, even back in the day, and I wasn't that big on the internet all that much, but you sort of noticed the controversy around that was no longer possible, and it was pretty much a whole clean slate. And I think Nintendo was very shocked by just how people were reacting to that. And since then, it's been possible, through some loopholes, mind you,
Yeah.
that it's possible to get a Pokemon all the way from the third generation to the new games.
Because, like, you can use, like, a DS or a DS Lite to bring Pokemon from GBA to DS.
Yeah.
And then you can use Pokemon Bank to bring them from DS to 3DS.
Yeah, you do have to send them to Black and White. I don't think Diamond and Pearl work with Pokemon Bank. So you have to send them to Black and White then.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. But I mean, like, you can send them to Diamond and Pearl and then trade them over like normal. But
yeah, exactly. So, Yeah, I do remember. So since then, there's been that big experience. And for example, like I got a Deoxys at an event back in 2004, something around those lines. It was like it was quite a while ago, but that Deoxys is right now on my Pokemon X DS game thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it is quite satisfying to still see it there and have it be the same Deoxys I used all those years ago.
That's
There's
pretty
just
cool.
yeah, there's just something very rewarding about that. That's very same, even though it's technically not. Like the data's different and all that. But yeah, Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's way too early to speculate right now, so we can't exactly go into that. But it's a new Pokemon game. I'm excited. I'm not necessarily bummed that there isn't a Pokemon Z or whatever, but it does feel like okay, that's
I mean, they haven't done those since like Platinum,
yeah,
so
but you do have to kind of include Black and White 2 in there a bit, sort of.
not. It's a different thing because
It's a
there were two of
sequel,
them.
so it's kind of hard to really
There were
say.
still two of them though.
Yeah, it's tough because I would consider Black and White 2 the Crystal and the
I disagree with that because like the way that it's usually done is like you can play Ruby and Sapphire or you can play Emerald. You're gonna have like a similar experience, but not the same one because some changes have been made, some things have been added and stuff.
Battle Frontier.
But like Black and White 2 is a direct continuation of the story from Black and White 1. You can't, if you're interested in the story, which, it's there. It's not great, but it's there. You kind of have to have played Black and White 1 first. So it's not, it doesn't feel like I guess, for lack of a better term, a spin-off like games like Emerald and Platinum are. Or
Right.
maybe like I don't know, yeah, I honestly don't know what to call them. A reimagining?
Yeah, it's more of a yeah, it's kind of hard to say. Like a enhanced blah, blah. It's not necessarily a sequel. It's not a port either.
Nah, it wouldn't be a port. It's sort of like an enhancement.
Yeah, an enhanced version.
Yeah, it's not. They're not enhanced versions. They're direct sequels. So
yeah,
you can consider them enhanced
I
versions.
consider
but
them
you'd
in
be
that category,
wrong.
but you're right in the sense that they are sequels and not necessarily enhanced.
Yeah.
But the fact that there isn't something like that for X and Y now is a bit disappointing personally, but I'm looking forward to the future. It's a new Pokemon game. It's a new world to see, and that's always makes me excited, even with the very little that we know.
And I'm kind of glad that we didn't get a Pokemon game last year, so we didn't get too burnt out on them.
Exactly.
I mean, I still haven't made that much progress in Alpha Sapphire, so
Yeah. Sometimes you need a little bit of a break, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like Pokemon went away. I mean, Mystery Dungeon came out in the US, but it's hardly new big Pokemon game.
yeah. It's
But
not a mainline Pokemon game, it's a spin-off.
exactly. Okay, so we come to the news section then. Technically, we already did with this whole thing.
Anniversary.
But there's some stuff that we can discuss. As always, I'm going to name the categories, and then you can decide what we're going to discuss.
All right, hit me.
HTC Vive, Fire Emblem, Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Stick with me. Bioshock, Conker, and that's it.
Let's start with Bioshock. That's a short one.
Yeah. According to a Brazilian game store, I believe. Let me check. According to the Brazilian rating board.
Oh.
So that's already
slightly more legit.
Yeah. We're getting a Bioshock the Collection, which would be coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and also the PS3 and Xbox 360. Basically, it's in the name. It's Bioshock 1, 2, and Infinite in one package together.
With all the DLC, I imagine.
With all the DLC, presumably. And, yeah, you'll be able to play them on PS4 and Xbox One.
Can't go wrong with that. At least 2 of them are good.
Bioshock 2 has a lot of defenders. I really don't like it, and maybe I didn't give it a fair shake when I played it. But Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite are 2 amazing games that I'll gladly replay.
I mean, I don't know if I'd replay them on, like, current-gen consoles, just because I own all of them on PC as well.
Yeah.
Like, I actually have, I have Bioshock Infinite on Steam, and actually, like, a long time ago, I bought a double pack just on, like, a physical copy double pack of Bioshock 1 and 2.
Oh, I was thinking you were going to say Bioshock and Oblivion, because that's the package that I bought.
No, it's just Bioshock 1 and 2.
Yeah, okay. But, yeah, for those that don't have the PC that can run it,
I ran
it's nice
Bioshock
to have them
Infinite on my old laptop. It's not
Yeah.
that big a deal.
But you can they're probably going to spruce up the graphics, hopefully, a bit. And, yeah, play through Bioshock again. I'm all for that.
They're good games.
They are good games. Alright then, that was the short news story. Okay, HTC Vive, Fire Emblem, Jay and Silent Bob, or Conker.
Vive next. HTC Vive.
Yeah. Tell me something here. You are a bit of a skeptic when it comes to VR in the sense that you haven't really tried, you haven't tried VR, right?
No.
Okay, and where do you see it, take off in the industry, or,
I think it has potential to be pretty big, but it really depends on, like, how people are going to perceive it once we get a bunch more consumer grade things that aren't ridiculously expensive, foreshadowing for the story.
Right. How much would you be willing to pay for a VR device? Should you want one?
I don't know, like, I think at most, like, $400.
So I guess you're not getting the HTC Vive then.
No.
Which costs a whopping $800.
Yeah.
It will get you also to motion control thingies, motion sensors.
Because motion controls are apparently still something we're doing.
And 2 games are coming with it. Job Simulator and Fantastic Contraption.
Really? Fantastic Contraption?
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
That's an odd choice.
But, yeah. And HTC Vive is also the official one used by Valve. That's the one they've partnered up with. It's supposedly extremely high quality.
I mean, for the price, I definitely hope so.
A lot of people who have tried the VR things have said that this is generally the strongest one that they have tried so far. So in that sense, the price does make sense, but it's still, that is quite expensive.
That's not gonna get the average consumer interested.
No, not at all. It does make me wonder, sort of, because we got the Oculus Rift price. Now there's Gear VR, which is cheaper in the sense that it requires a mobile phone.
There's also Cardboard,
which is like $25.
Yeah.
But
it's literally just a headset for your phone.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, there's the upcoming PlayStation VR, which is interesting in the sense that it's console locked. But where do you see that? Because we've had these prices now, and a lot of the more general consumers who are excited and interested in VR, but are sort of waiting on the price, and I'm certainly in that camp. It's just like, Ooh, Sony better know what they're doing with the price, because this could not go well.
I'm no economist, so and I don't know what every human being on the planet wants. But Sony, I think it really depends on how powerful they want PlayStation VR to be. I think they'll probably want to hit a middle ground between Oculus and HTC to show that yes, it's not like it may not be the best one, but at least it's a better one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing as far as price goes, I think PlayStation VR will be around like $600, which
That would be a death sentence,
yeah,
because that would be more expensive than the console.
yeah. But see, the problem is that like
Yeah. Okay.
that VR, from what we know from the Oculus at least, VR is incredibly resource intensive. So what you either do is you find some way to put some of the processing power inside the headset itself, which will probably make it very heavy, or
It
you go.
comes with a little box, the PlayStation VR, like an extra sort of
Okay.
mini console of its own, which you plug into the PS4, I think.
See, because the PlayStation 4, on the other hand, the PlayStation 4 is, as far as gaming machines go, it is the most powerful current gen console, but it doesn't really compare to a decent gaming PC. So it's entirely possible, actually, that they might have a decently cheap VR solution on their hands, because not only do they not have to make sure that it functions with a general PC build, because they know the exact infrastructure that they're working with, but also just because the PlayStation 4 isn't all that powerful, they might not have to spring for like a lot of difficult and expensive things for the actual headset. So it's also entirely possible that we could see a pretty inexpensive solution for the PlayStation VR.
I was thinking along the line of $300, which is still quite a bit, but it would be the cheapest one around, with, of course, the caveat that it only works on PS4. And I don't know, like, with these prices, I'm not exactly ready to go and adopt VR yet. I want to. I've had my experiences with VR, and I think it's incredible. Like, just what they can do with it, but it's wait and see for me, definitely.
Yeah, especially for me, just because, the whole eyesight thing.
I've heard people with glasses, I've seen people with glasses wearing VR stuff, and it seems to be doing fine, so
Okay.
you may want to check it out whenever you have the chance. Okay, still some stories left. Fire Emblem, Jay and Silent Bob, and Conker.
Let's get sad.
Oh god. Oh boy.
Let's talk about Conker.
Oh god. Microsoft, what are you doing? Just
What are you doing, Mike? Like, Microsoft, like, okay. Conker fans, I'm so sorry for you.
yeah. I've played my share of Bad Fur Day on an emulator, mind you, and also the Xbox version. And I really want to get Conker in the sense that it's a great game, but my god, is it expensive?
I mean, you could get Rare Replay, but you kind of have to have an Xbox One for that.
Exactly. But
I'm still genuinely amazed that didn't come out on PC. Like, that kind of seemed like a no-brainer, but...
But yeah, anyway. So, Conker's Bad Fur Day is a cult classic because it satirizes the mascot platformer genre that was very popular in the PS1 and Nintendo 64 days.
Also, it's an R-rated platformer on the N64 in general, so that's
that
already
too.
kind of...
And it's good. Let's also add that. It's a pretty good game. Then we got Live and Reloaded, which was a pretty good remake, other than the fact that it's more censored than the Nintendo 64 version, which is hilarious when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the multiplayer is all completely different. It was a multiplayer shooter kind of thing. But then we got it was quiet for a long time. Rare was kind of doing nothing real, like not great stuff. And then we got the Project Spark thing, which didn't make a lot of people happy.
No.
And then when it came out, it was not very good.
To the point where I didn't realize that it had already came out.
It was a very quiet release, and I saw some footage of it, or at least I saw a small let's play of it. It was pretty bad. It was very much a very restrained Conker. And just sort of like, okay, they both restricted by what they could do with the engine of Project Spark, and just it wasn't particularly funny or well done or anything. It felt like neutered. That's the word I'm looking for.
Mm.
And now through HoloLens, because they want to show off the technology more after wowing us with the Minecraft thing, but a small team is working on a game called Young Conker, which has a redesigned Conker who looks
horrifying,
like garbage, pretty much. It's just like, God damn it, what have you done to Conker? It just, you have to wonder like whose idea it was that made them go, okay, what were they thinking with choosing? Because I'll give them credit for this. I like the idea of the game, that it sort of makes a platformer out of the stuff in your living room.
That is definitely cool, and I'd like to see how the technology is implemented and if it ends up working as well as it looks.
Yeah.
But why would you use Conker for that?
Yeah.
Surely there's better uses of your IP than a VR demo.
Exactly.
A well-beloved IP, might I add.
Yeah. It's just like, they just don't get it, it seems. They just really don't get it. That this, like, from the stuff that we see, it looks very much like the game that Conker was satirizing when it came out. It just looks like something, it just looked like, okay, what cute cuddly animals do we have that we can use? What cute little mascots? Oh, this squirrel, we can use him. We're not doing anything with him. Might as well.
No, don't you see? Because he's young Conker, and that's before his days of depravity and swearing.
Yeah. But did they have to make him look so shit?
Honestly, he just looks so scary.
Yeah.
He looks really just like, it makes me uncomfortable just to look at him.
He looks like a Five Nights at Freddy animatronic.
He does!
Yeah.
Oh my god, he totally does.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, like, if they had maybe used Banjo-Kazooie, again, it would probably have caused nerd rage. But not to this extent, because at least Banjo-Kazooie sort of fits what they were going with. But, god damn it, guys. Like, Microsoft just doesn't get Conker for some reason, and I get that making a Conker game doesn't make a whole lot of sense in today's age. At least like a big budgeted one. I'd love to see it, but it wouldn't be a super successful type of game. And Conker itself, it should be noted that Conker itself wasn't that successful, if largely because it came out so late. It was expensive.
And was full of swearing on the N64.
Yeah. But, it's just like, they desperately seem to want to get fans for it, and they just reject it for good reason, mind you. Because they're using a character for something for which it is not meant.
No. You're wasting your Conker.
Yeah.
This is not a good use of your Conker.
It could have been, like, if they had just had a generic mascot, it could have been Yeah.
Hell, even like a small chibi version of the Master Chief would have been better than this.
Yeah. It bums me out. It really sort of bums me out. And I feel bad for the developers in the sense that I don't think they had this game in mind with Conker, and then Microsoft was just like, you should put Conker in there. Then we have IP recognition, and that's important so that people care. And then they care in the complete opposite way, in the sense of, what the fuck is this?
Okay. We got two stories left.
Yes, one is weird and one is just, okay, cool. In the sense, okay, there's Fire Emblem and Jay and Silent Bob.
Let's save Jay and Silent Bob for last, so Fire Emblem next.
Fire Emblem Fates is officially the best ever launch for the series, especially in the West. Having together sold 300,000 copies in the first week. In North America alone, mind you, because the game still has a release date in Europe for some reason. It has outsold Awakening 5 times over within the first 3 days of its release.
Wow.
Oh, and Birthright sold better than Conquest, which makes sense. But,
I'll take your word for it.
Fire Emblem, Fates, it's really successful, and it's kind of shown the evolution of Fire Emblem as a franchise.
Yeah, I think that, Fire Emblem Awakening really sort of helped reinvigorate the franchise and made it a bit more mainstream, because it came out in a time when I think there weren't that many games coming out for the 3DS. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
it came out in like 2012, I think.
But like 2012, I remember being pretty good for the 3DS. But I think that month or something, there wasn't really anything big.
It was a while, yeah, I believe. But I can't exactly look the current 3DS schedule and what they've done since then. It came out in February 2013 in the United States, in North America, I mean. But it was very much like, the story is now famous in that this was going to be the last Fire Emblem game if it didn't sell well. And then it was the best selling in the franchise and sort of got a whole new market through, sort of pandering more to the, let's just say, weeb crowd.
I mean, that's being a little bit dismissive, because
it's dismissive, but it's hard to find the right word for it. But more like the anime, it's much more anime than it used to be. Let's just say that.
The relationship system was a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows for some interesting statistics and stuff like that. And I'm glad that they continued, at least as far as I know, continued it into the most recent releases.
They have continued it. They've very much, expanded on it. But yeah, it sold really, really well, and there's been a ton of controversy around the game, especially regarding localization and all that stuff. Yeah, it's been a bit weird, because obviously stuff has been removed. The let's see, what did you call it? The gay God, I can't find the word. What? Sorry?
Conversion.
Yeah, the hetero gay conversion thing with the potion and all that stuff, that's been removed. The petting has been
altered. It hasn't been fully
altered to
removed.
the sense that you can only do it with a character you're married to. And yeah, there's some stuff in the writing that's a little bit different, and people are calling outrage.
It's funny. I think I saw this on Twitter earlier that it in 2006. Here we go. From @BobServo on Twitter. 2006. They changed ramen to burgers in Ace Attorney. 2016. Localizations are unconstitutional and should be punishable by death.
Yeah, there's just been some weird things going on, and there's the whole cries of censorship and all that stuff, and it's just like, you don't know what that means.
No.
But it doesn't seem their cries have worked, because best-selling game. So take that, you weird nerds.
Yeah.
Now give us a release date, Nintendo, because it's still not out here in Europe. Like, what's up with that? I mean, I know we got Bravely Default early now, but still, what the heck?
Bravely Second, do you mean?
Bravely Second, yeah, thank you. Moving on to our last game, and definitely the weirdest story, of the
Yeah.
bunch.
The most amusing one for me, personally.
Yeah. You are a noted fan of the View-esque universe, I believe.
I mean, I haven't seen all of it, but the ones I have seen I really enjoyed, yes.
Yeah. Well, you may know Mr. Kevin Smith. He is a film director of the likes as Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Dogma, which is probably his best movie.
Agreed.
And, since then, he's been more along the lines of a podcaster with the Smodcast, Fat Man on Batman, and all that stuff.
Still occasionally makes movies
It's
like
more,
Tusk and Red State and
yeah, but more
Yoga
so,
Hosers.
Yoga Hosers. That's, have you read stuff about Yoga Hosers?
Not really.
It's, it's certainly something. But, yeah, now we're getting, the Jay and Silent Bob co-op beat 'em up. And it's currently on Fig, the same place where Psychonauts 2 was.
Successfully funded, might I add.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is weird but unsurprising because if you watch Kevin Smith's Q&As, which are highly recommended, even if you aren't particularly a fan of his work just because he's very funny, you'll know that he doesn't really make it a secret that he will milk Jay and Silent Bob for as much money as they're worth.
Oh yeah.
Because that was actually something that was very clever of him. Like, when he first made Clerks, he basically sold almost all the rights to, I think it was Miramax, except for the characters of Jay and Silent Bob. Because he was like, I might want to do something with these guys in the future, and the rest of them you can have, whatever. And so he's held on to the copyright to the rights for all these years, and co-op beat 'em up game. Fair enough. I mean, it looks alright, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a bit weird just to sort of see this kind of come out of nowhere and sort of like, I know that there's this big fan base for Jay and Silent Bob in the View-esque universe, but at the same time, just kind of like, this feels like maybe 15 years too late.
Yeah, this seems like a shitty game that would come out on the Super Nintendo,
Yeah. And there's some interesting stuff in there in the sense that there's like sort of this thing they call combo combat to sort of mix insults together to decrease morale of enemies or something like that.
Yeah, it's not just to beat 'em up. There are little things in there that make it a little bit interesting, but I don't know. I feel like the era of big licensed games,
it's very much over in the sense that pretty much everything has moved to mobile.
unless you're like Batman.
Yeah, unless you're Batman. But yeah, apparently the team has worked in this game called Super Combo Man.
I have literally never heard of it.
It's got a 5 out of 10 on Steam. Which, it's, I don't know, it's hard to judge a game I haven't played. But apparently the combat isn't great, or there's issues with level design. I'm just looking at the first review on Steam. So again, hard to judge based on their experience. But they want $400,000 to make it, and they're currently at 123,000 with a month to go.
It's a pretty modest budget, all things considered.
Yeah. I really don't know what to make of it, honestly. I'm not as big a fan of Kevin Smith and his work, but
I mean, Kevin Smith is best with dialogue.
Yeah.
And not much else.
Pretty much.
And he has admitted as such, so I'm not, just slagging him off. He has admitted as such, so don't worry. Yeah, it feels kind of out of left field for me.
Yeah.
It's weird, but, I mean, Fair enough, sure. Give
Yeah,
it a shot.
sure, why not?
It might be fun, it might not be. We'll see what happens. I
It,
am hopeful that it gets funded. I'm personally not going to contribute to it, but a lot of people might enjoy it, so
yeah,
who knows?
I am in the don't care camp if it gets funded or not. I'm not actively rooting against it. I just don't particularly care. But hey, if fans want it, go for it.
I
Who
mean,
am I to judge?
that's what crowdfunding is all about, to see if the fans truly want it enough to throw money at it before it's even made.
Yeah. All right then. I think that's it for the news, and now it's time to move on to the games coming out. It's a new month, and that means new opportunities for
It's a new month. Yes, it is.
yes. And with March, like March is generally a pretty big month for some games. You definitely see some stuff here and there that is like, oh, okay, that's pretty big. I mean, this month we saw the likes of Far Cry Primal and XCOM 2 and Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But March generally has some pretty big stuff as well, and we'll get to that eventually. But let's just, we're going to talk about the games coming between March 1st and March 8th. So let's start with a game I just recently knew about, despite having played some of the game. Deponia Doomsday.
I
Yeah,
I have like no connection to the Deponia series other than knowing that they exist.
yeah. Okay, so the last game was literally called Goodbye Deponia. It was kind of an end of the trilogy. But it turns out that the guys at Daedalic decided, you know what, we'll do something a little bit different. And this is sort of like an alternate timeline sort of stuff, and it is a continuation, but at the same time it's doing something a little bit different. And Deponia is like I'd say the world is almost a bit like Columbia in Bioshock Infinite, a bit. It's in the sense that there's a floating city and all that stuff, and a girl you have to rescue. But it's yeah, if you like your point and clicks, it's definitely worth checking out. Daedalic are pretty good guys. It's also coming to PS4 and Xbox One as well, and I don't think any of the other Deponia games have been on there.
Not to my knowledge. No,
Yeah,
was pretty sure that they do. That they were PC only, but I mean, it wouldn't be the first point and click to go onto consoles. I mean, like,
indeed.
uh, come on, the Double Fine one,
The Broken Age.
Broken Age, it's on consoles.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of consoles, weird segue, but moving from the PS3 to the PS4, it's Heavy Rain.
yay!
I remember when Heavy Rain was a really big deal.
I remember on this very podcast going on like a 15-minute rant about how much I hated the premise of Heavy Rain.
Well, now you can play it on PS4.
Yay, I'm so excited, you have no idea.
Well, moving on then. To PC, on March 3rd, we have Black Desert Online. And you may be wondering, okay, what's this? I've not heard of this. Why aren't you talking about it? Well, you may know it as having the best character creator ever.
And that's not exaggeration. Like,
That
I've poked through it. It is bonkers.
it is a bonkers character creator. It's pretty much the only thing they've shown is just like how pretty and how detailed you can make everything, or how, beautiful and ugly you can make it. It's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. And full credit to the team, Pearl Abyss. Apparently they're from Korea. Like, major, major props. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to run it, but, damn, son.
I can't imagine it will be like particularly easy on the graphics card. Cause it's just visually like, honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me see if the website has system requirements.
I don't know. It probably does. It would be weird if it didn't, but you never know. But it's a combat game, and I know that's very, very vague. a bit mythologically based, I believe, but it's very high fantasy and all that.
Support?
You can play as a human, as an elf, and as a giant, and there's not a... But yeah, just the way you can design your character is insane, and that's definitely been the biggest marketing of it all. Just how it looks, and how creative you can be with your characters. Also interesting to point out, in the Japan version, it was a free to play game, and here it follows the Guild Wars 2 model in that you buy it, and that's it. You're done. So it's gonna be what, like $40-$60, and then
Probably.
and afterwards you probably don't have to pay a further amount. Are the system requirements on there, or
Yes. It was a bit of a hassle to find, admittedly.
Okay.
But I did find them. They look, just at a first glance, they look about on par with a current gen game. Recommended requirements are Windows 7 or 8, 3.2 gigahertz processor, which is
Basically, if your computer can run Witcher 3 or Fallout 4, it should be fine.
Yeah, that is slightly below mine. 6 gigabytes of RAM. It doesn't say how much video RAM, but Intel GTX 650 or GTX 550 Ti or a Radeon HD 7770 or a Radeon HD 6770.
Numbers.
It doesn't say how much graphics memory it's asking for. So, and also recommended 1280 by 720 resolution.
Right. Moving on then, we're gonna go from one port to the other, though there's an online in between, with The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD coming to Wii U on March 4th, and March 5th in Japan, in Australia apparently. Did you play Twilight Princess?
No.
I did. I actually really liked Twilight Princess. It was the first Zelda game I really got into. I think Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were before my time, and well, actually, that's not really true. I did play Wind Waker a lot more before that, and Twilight Princess is obviously very different in the sense that, like, people were pining for it ever since that Space World demo, which kind of revealed a sort of a darker Zelda, and then, of course, we have Wind Waker immediately afterwards, and people were like, wait, what the fuck is this?
I think the only 3D Zelda I've ever played is Ocarina of Time. So
yeah. But there's been some improvements here and there. You can view the map on the gamepad and use your inventory on the go. There's a hero mode which can increase difficulty. It is available from the start, so if you've already played the game before, you can just do that immediately. And there's some fun little amiibo support.
Oh, fun. I mean,
well,
locking
example,
off modes and content behind amiibos isn't exactly something I consider fun.
The Wolf Link thing is a bit, but...
And the super hard mode with Ganondorf as well.
That's more of an extra little thing. But basically Link and Toon Link give you more hearts, I believe. Or arrows. Zelda and Sheik give you more hearts. And then Ganondorf pretty much makes the game really difficult for you, which is kind of a fun little addition, I feel. It's not something, it's something I feel you can lock behind an amiibo, but I'm looking forward to playing it again. It's kind of like the graphical upgrade is not as apparent as something along the likes of Wind Waker, and that's probably because Wind Waker has aged so well and Twilight Princess considerably less so.
That's the downside with slightly more realistic graphical stylings. So
yeah, especially with the likes of because Wind Waker definitely did the whole cell shading thing to make it look as gorgeous as it does.
Mm-hmm.
And Twilight Princess, as you said, more realistic. And when that looks amazing then, and then 10 years later, just like, eh. So, something to re-experience once again, because it's hard to believe it's almost 10 years old already. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, we've got probably the biggest game to discuss is Tom Clancy's The Division. Yeah, how do we talk about this? Because I haven't played the beta. I don't think you've played the beta.
Nope.
So it's a new IP in the sense that it's something completely original. It's kind of weird that the Tom Clancy name is almost on there. Though I'm not sure how involved he was, considering the fact he is dead.
Yeah. Maybe it's in like, and I don't know, this is pure speculation because I, A, have not played it, and B, don't know much about Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy. That was a Mr. Caffeine joke for you guys.
Oh, right. Mr. Caffeine is a thing.
God, I miss him sometimes.
Really? Do you really?
Sometimes. When I'm in a very sleep-deprived mode.
That's why
like now.
Coffee exists.
Hey!
Yeah.
But anyway, The Division.
It's interesting and odd and not what I think most people expected it to be. Like, the initial trailers made it look like a very sort of, action-packed third-person shooter, and it's gonna be all, like, fun and skill-based and all that guff. Turns out it's an RPG.
Yeah.
An MMO RPG.
It's, we knew the MMO aspect of it. It's massively multiplayer. It's an open-world third-person shooter. We knew all that.
But the RPG-ness of it was, I think, kind of a surprise to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the sense that it's a little more tactical than expected. That sort of makes sense. That there are those role-playing elements in order to keep you going, because Destiny does that a lot.
Well, Destiny was pretty clear that it was going to be like a loot grindy RPG from the start. But I think The Division, like I said, was a little bit more of a surprise. Just because the initial trailers were a lot more like, just made it look like an online shooter.
Yeah.
Rather than than the RPG that it turned out to be.
Yeah, I can't particularly say that I care for it. I've never really cared for it. I know a lot of people were very, very excited for the game, but it just never really clicked for me, and that maybe has to do with the weird trailers Ubisoft showed for it with, the supposedly talking players that just don't come off as particularly natural or too scripted and all that, but there's nothing really about the plot that they've revealed that really appeals to me. The gameplay just seemed and maybe that's just being unfair in the sense that it's just not really my thing, and it just doesn't seem very appealing to me, and that's.
But from what I've seen from like impressions of the beta, it's not all that exciting, but it's not bad. It's just sort of like, it'll pass the time, and it's very good at passing the time. I think Jim Sterling sort of lost track of the amount of time that he was on it, but ultimately I don't think it's like, it doesn't seem like it's, amazing.
Right, yeah. I don't know, I think Ubisoft is expecting a lot of big things for it. They announced that it doesn't have microtransactions, which is interesting.
Which is kind of like a relief, to be honest.
Yeah. But,
it's weird that a Ubisoft game is like the exception to the rule.
Yeah, but Far Cry Primal as well didn't have a bunch of that stuff. But, I can't say I'm looking forward to it, but, I'm not. I'll just wait and see what people say about it. I'm pretty sure it's going to get like 8s and 9s and that stuff, or maybe something along the lines that needs to grow, like Destiny did, which at its beginning was very much in its infancy.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of the games that we've talked about, the one that definitely interests me the most is Twilight Princess HD, and that's out of more nostalgia reasons. I really like Twilight Princess a lot, so like I really want to re-experience it again. And it's the GameCube version that they are remaking, which is the better version. So that's that's the game I'm most interested in. Anything for you, or
Uh, I don't know. I wasn't like looking forward to at least any of the games that we discussed all that much.
which one interests you the most? Like, if you were forced at gunpoint to buy one of these 5 games,
Not
weird
gonna lie,
scenario, I know, but
Black Desert Online.
okay, just to mess with the character creator.
Well, I mean, you can literally like download the character creator for free.
Yeah,
But honestly, I kind of want to have like an MMO that I want to play, and I dig the fact that Black Desert Online sort of has like action based combat instead of just like taking turns to hit each other until your numbers go down kind of combat.
yeah,
And I mean, that character creator is like kind of a good selling point for it. And the fact that there's no like no subscription fee, but it's
yeah.
a one-time payment. And I actually looked on the site a bit. There's 2 ways to buy it, and there's a traveler's package and an explorer's package. Both of them get you the game and a little bit of extra content. The traveler's package is $30, euros at least. I'm on the European one. Is $29.99. The explorer's package is $49.99 and gets you a bunch of like you get a horse, a pet of choice, and a horse flute, which I assume is a flute to call your horse.
Okay.
And the traveler's package is you get all the same stuff, just fewer like housing decor coupons and dye boxes and stuff. But you still get the game, and for $30 for a new MMO, that's honestly not bad.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't trust myself in MMOs. I get too easily lost in them, and then I do absolutely nothing with my life. But
I've never really played an MMO to that extent,
yeah,
which I might if Black Desert Online is really that good. Although
okay,
I'm also waiting on Star Citizen to be like finished.
that's never gonna be finished. They're just gonna keep crowdfunding until they reach the billion, probably.
I mean, they're at like 100,
They're
100
like
million.
150 or so.
109, I think, is the specific number.
I would not be surprised if they just kept going and going with crowdfunding, and the game would just get bigger and bigger, and actually never come out. It's just this really, really huge game that's always in development till the end of times.
You know, they are like legitimately working on it. I mean, I get like because I am a backer of it, I do get like weekly updates, and I do see the stuff that they're working on. So
Really? Are you a backer?
yeah,
I did not know this. How much did
yes,
you back for it?
I think either 25 or $35.
Interesting. Okay. It's I've never I think I've crowdfunded one thing in my life, and that is ukulele, and that's because Nintendo 64 platformers are my jam.
I've crowdfunded not many things. Certainly some that I'd rather forget that I did.
Let me think. What was that one? I feel like I know the one.
Imagination is the only escape.
Yeah, you chugged like $60 in that, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I got like the bare minimum I got the maximum that would only have digital rewards, which is like $15 at most.
Whatever. Like, I know Luke Bernard did a PETA game, right?
Yeah, that made me like doubly sort of regret supporting his work. But yeah, I mean, I backed Broken Age.
Uh-huh.
I backed Star Citizen. I backed Shroud of the Avatar. I backed Psychonauts 2, of course.
Okay, that makes sense for you.
I think that's it, actually. I think
Okay.
that's everything I've crowdfunded. Because, like, I can't exactly do much in the way of Kickstarter because I don't have a credit card. So I'm basically limited to Indiegogo and generous people that also include PayPal
Yeah.
options, like Star Citizen and Shroud of the Avatar.
All right then. I think with that we are finished. Do you want anything? Do you have anything to plug, or do you want to, spread your message across the internet and spread your, your brand?
Um, well, I'd like to plug my Twitch TV page, as I
Okay.
did last episode. That is twitch.tv/gear12. I haven't done streaming recently, because, like I said, busy weekend. But this week, I will definitely be doing something. And if you follow me on Twitter at Gear12_Turbo, you can keep up to date when I'm going live.
Alrighty then. As always, you can follow me at the Madhero on Twitter, and you can follow all the stuff we do on G1 Features at, the G1 Features Screw Attack page. Tom the Ironman is continuing his crusade at interviewing the Screw Attack cast. We just had an interview with Stuttering Craig and John Francis McCullough, and I can tell you, there will be more.
Good stuff.
It is. So I hope that you check that out, and hopefully we've got more stuff planned down the line. And yeah, I think that about does it. I'm about to get a drink or something because my throat is super dry right now.
Yeah.
To the sink I go!
Alright. See you everyone later.